Hello, and welcome once again to the Dental Marketing Mastery Series. This podcast is brought to you by dentalwebcontent.com and New Patients Incorporated. I'm Howie Horrocks, the founder of New Patients Incorporated. Along with me once again is my friend and partner and the president of New Patients Incorporated, Mark Dilatush. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to our podcast. And it's a Monday morning, and we've got Mark, my buddy, on the other end of the line. How you doing, Mark?
Hey, Howie. I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. We're going to do something a little different today, aren't we? We're going to be talking about PPC, pay per click.
Yes. And in our normal traditional, well, I don't know if it's normal and traditional, we try not to get bogged down with technobabble when we talk about technology. So,
oh yeah, it's easy to go into the weeds on that stuff.
It is. It's really. I mean, everything in technology has an acronym. Like they shorten everything up. It's amazing. It's almost military. But
yeah.
Okay, so let's go in. Let's just dive deep in. Let's first start with some terms, so the uninitiated will become initiated. PPC stands for pay per click. Most people recognize that as Google AdWords, although there are other pay per click opportunities on the wide world of the internet. The most popular by a factor of 27 billion is Google AdWords. If you Google anything in your life, if an advertiser was looking to sell things to people who were typing those words into your search screen in Google, when you hit enter and the search result comes up, you would see sponsored ads. It's kind of a green color on my computer. And those businesses who were bidding for position of those ads would pop up. There could be one ad, which normally means there's only one person bidding for those positions. There could be 2, 3, maybe 4. I think I saw one the other day where they actually had 5, which is kind of unusual for Google. Google doesn't want to just put a whole bunch of ads in front of you. So they normally put 3 or 4, and then they'll place if it's a local search, they'll place the map, right? And they'll have the map, and they'll have little balloons with locations, and they'll have the Google business listings inside the little box. And then underneath that, normally your organics will start. Sometimes they put more sponsored ads below the map, and then the organics start. So now we understand that this is specific to dentistry. What we're about to tell you is not applicable to any other business or any other industry. We don't work with any other business or any other industry. We only work with promoting dentistry to the masses for our client offices. But what I am about to tell you is applicable to dentists who look at the opportunity of advertising in Google AdWords as a potential use for a portion of their marketing budget. So let's first, now some of this is going to sound, let me back up a little bit. Some of this is going to sound like I am negative toward Google AdWords, and some of it's going to sound like I'm amazingly positive about Google AdWords. Which kind of makes sense, because our job as your marketing firm is to know what your risks are when you place your money there. So there are positives and negatives, pros and cons with every advertising avenue, every one. Okay. So having said that, Google AdWords sponsored ads assume that the consumer has to know something about what they're after. In dentistry's sake, it is very possible that the majority of people, for instance, typing in dental implants, my town, into their Google search page already know they're a candidate for dental implants. I want you to think about that for a second. You are bidding on position so that people who already know they may or may not be in the market for dental implants may see your sponsored ad. That's what you're bidding on, okay? You're probably not introducing the idea of dental implants in front of a person who doesn't know anything about them, because almost zero consumers will type in dental implants because they're just not aware of them until they are diagnosed and treatment planned. Okay, so there's a very, very interesting distinction there. So put that in the back of your head, because there's other words that you can bid on too, like loose dentures, and the word implant isn't anywhere in there. Okay, but you can use implants to support loose fitting dentures, right? Everybody listening to this podcast understands what I mean. Now, here are the realities of PPC. And you're probably going to like half of them. You probably won't like the other half.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So here's every market, every individual dental market is its own little PPC, Google AdWords world. What works for Dr. T in Seattle is not necessarily going to hold true in Orlando, Florida, or South Bend, Indiana, or McKinney, Texas, or anywhere else in the country, really. I mean, it's duplicating the end result, duplicating the cost per click, duplicating the calls per click, duplicating all of the metrics that are measurable is not universally applicable market to market. Not like many other media types that we use to promote our client offices. That's not good or bad. You just have to understand going in that if that's true, which it is, okay, then you don't really know how easy, how hard, how much money you're going to have to spend, how much competition you have in your market area for the search terms that you want to promote for until you actually do it. Now, I want you to think about that. Isn't that pretty much the way all advertising is? I mean, does anybody really know exactly what they're going to get before they advertise anything? I mean, we got it down to about a 10 to 15% predictability index.
Yeah, we can predict pretty well in the channels that we've been operating in the last 27 years. But yeah, this one,
well, it's just not. It's just not possible. I can tell you the average acquisition cost for an Invisalign patient, nationwide.
Yeah.
But I can't do it for South Bend, Indiana. Can't do it. Even if I had a dentist in South Bend, Indiana, if I add another dentist in South Bend, Indiana, the costs go up and the cost per clicks go up because now there's two people vying for the same thing. Okay? So here's what this means to you. If you're going to put PPC money out there, if you're going to put pay-per-click money or Google AdWords money, we have a whole division of humans that do nothing but manage these campaigns. So if you're going to do this, then you need to understand going in that the first 90 days, maybe even 90 to 120 days, is an enormous gathering of data. And the data basically tells us at that point how viable your market is for that specific thing. When I say thing, I mean like implants or Invisalign or just general dental patients or emergencies or whatever dental topic that you're trying to promote. whoever you're trying to capture that's typing into that Google search form, whatever that topic is, the first 90 to 120 days is we are now getting a baseline for the dentists out there who love research. Most dentists are kind of research oriented, right?
Yeah.
The first 90 to 120 days of a PPC campaign is statistical baseline. You should expect that. You should expect to get a few calls, yes, but you should also expect that whoever's handling this for you at the end of the 90 or 120 days can give you definitive recommendation and honestly statistical proof of whether or not you should be promoting that topic in your market, how much it's going to cost, and how much your competition is spending on the same topic based on the data you accumulated over the first 90 to 120 days.
Wow, that sounds really cool. You know what, Mark? Let's take a break right now and we'll let our folks think about that and hear what we have to say on the commercial break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Hey, Mark, we should tell people about this new product we have, NPI Command.
Well, probably new to the podcast listeners, but not new to the customers who use it. So let me go through the finer points. NPI Command is the system we use. It's an artificial intelligence system that creates decisions on where dentists, our clients, should put their pay-per-click money when they do Google pay-per-click ad campaigns. If you're someone who's already done them, then you're probably frustrated by the cost of the negative clicks. Well, if there's an artificial intelligence platform monitoring your negative clicks, you can see immediately how doing these on an artificial intelligence platform will allow for a faster build and the faster allocation of the advertising money to the places that are bringing in good clicks. Because with every PPC campaign, there's sources of bad clicks and sources of good clicks. And the whole idea is to throw all your money in the good ones and pull your money from the bad ones. So NPI Command is our PPC department, and it's not just a department of humans, it's an artificial intelligence platform as well.
Okay, we are back. Wow, this was getting interesting. You were talking about the amount of data gathered during the initial startup there of a PPC campaign, right?
Yeah, for those who are uninitiated, the data you collect is actually kind of makes you cry. It accounts for every penny of advertising dollar that you paid to Google, and it tells you the destination, and not the destination, the route, where the click came from. Okay. Now, clicks can come from almost anywhere. They can come from somebody typing into the Google search and clicking your ad, but a good PPC campaign would capture that user's data and perhaps remarket to that user. PPC campaigns can also be used for banner ads. So if there's a good solid mix of where your money's going, then there's a really good solid output of analytics data in whatever, 60, 90, 120 days, somewhere in there. You're going to have this gigantic pile of data, and you're going to notice that you paid whatever, $6 to get someone from a banner ad from this source to click, and it really didn't turn into a call once they got to your landing page, or they didn't click the online scheduling button on your landing page, and it didn't turn into an appointment, and it didn't turn into a phone call. So you can just click the little button and say, okay, well, I don't want clicks from that source anymore. And there will be literally hundreds of them. Okay. There's a lot more sources of clicks in a Google ad that are not fruitful than there are ones that are. But in that 60, 90, 120 days, whatever it takes in your market, you're also going to identify the source of good clicks. And you're going to see that they go through to a phone call, or they clicked on the online scheduling button and it resulted into a patient appointment. You're going to see that. So instead of spending $6 on the bad click source, you're going to want to take that $6, excuse me, and apply it to the good click source, right? Okay, that's it. Okay. This is what happens when you manage a Google PPC ad. Now imagine you literally have 1,000 click sources over the course of 30, 60, 90 days of doing this. And you're
Boy, that would be confusing for a human to do all that.
That would be it is. Yeah, whenever you talk to a doctor who does their own PPC, there's a couple of things you are guaranteed. One, they're tired of doing it and they don't want to do it. They can't. Here's what we hear all the time: I can't keep up with it. And what they're telling you, what they mean is I can't keep up with turning the bad click sources off. So I am focusing my ad monies toward sources of good clicks. That's basically what it means. Okay. So now, once you get down to determining that this is indeed a viable market for this subject that I'm trying to promote, and I can promote it for a reasonable amount of money, and these are, at least now, as of this moment, my good lead sources, and these are bad lead sources, so I'm going to turn them off. I'm going to funnel my money toward the good lead sources. Once you get to that point, let's assume that the answer is yes, we should continue to advertise this in our local market. It is worthwhile. We can continue to pare down the acquisition cost by simply cutting off the bad sources and reallocating those ad dollars to good sources. Now, here's where it gets really, really interesting, especially with what we do here, is we will take that account. Now, up to this point, a human being has been monitoring your bad click sources and your good click sources, and they've been manually going through the list. Yep, nope, yep, nope. They're turning them on, turning them off all day. It's amazing. Okay. But after a while, you can imagine that a human being is like, they're going to go dizzy by staring at these things. And obviously it's labor intensive. So your actual management cost for your PPC campaign goes higher. Anything labor intensive, your management cost is going to go higher. So here's what we do. We get the campaigns to a certain point, and then we load them up onto an artificial intelligence platform. And what the artificial intelligence platform does is it takes our beginning and it constantly, 24/7, 365, every nanosecond, okay, tracks the source of bad clicks, tracks the sources of good clicks, and alerts the human being, so that really what all the human being does is they don't do the analysis. They don't have to do the analysis. They just look at the AI's result, and they're able to go in, make a human decision on or off. And so what ultimately happens for the client is the source of bad is found sooner, and those dollars are redirected sooner. So the growth of the campaign and the impact of the campaign grows sooner and reaches its optimal level sooner. Now, we can't tell you that it'll last forever, but here's the other side of this. Let's say your PPC campaign for, I don't know, Invisalign is cooking along really, really well. And let's say it lasts really for, I don't know, 18 months. It's just burning right along. You're getting 6, 7 cases a month. You're spending, I don't know, a couple grand a month. You're fine with that. Everything's just cranking right along. And all of a sudden, there's a trend down. Remember, there's a ramp up of a bell curve, there's a top of a bell curve, and there's a backside of a bell curve. One of the keys to advertising and one of the keys to managing a doctor's marketing budget appropriately is being able to see the beginning of the down curve and pulling the doctor's money out of it before it goes all the way down the backside. Okay. So that's the other piece of this with the AI platform, is the AI platform says, okay, trending down. That alerts the human being. The human being doesn't have to do the analysis. The human being just looks at let's say the last 80, 90 days, makes a human decision to either get a hold of the client and say, you know what, we need to pull this money out of this subject and move it to a different subject, or make a whole different decision altogether. So here's I guess your takeaways. If you're going to go into PPC, we will tell you that it really depends, and I know this is vague, but it's honestly vague. It really depends on your market. And in order to really determine whether or not your market is going to be a viable market for the dental terms that you're trying to promote in your area, you do have to commit 90 to 120 days to it. If you do commit that in an average market, you're looking at a couple grand a month. All right, so don't, that's another lesson to learn. A couple of lessons. One, please don't try to do this yourself. All you're doing is bidding the clicks up for every other dentist in your market. Okay, please don't put $300 a month into it. If you're going to put $300 or $400 a month into it, just take our advice. Take your spouse out to a really nice meal. Go for a walk on the beach. Save it up and take an airplane ride somewhere. Okay, because put it this way: Google loves you.
Yeah.
Okay, you're just sending them money, right? And you know who else loves you is your competitors, because your competitors are spending $5,000 a month, and they're getting all the patients. Okay, so anyway, don't do it yourself. And if you are going to do it, understand going in that the first 60 to 120 days is really data collection.
Yeah, it's testing, right?
It's testing. It's data collection. You know what else it is? It's making you aware of are your calls from these ads being answered? If they are being answered, what's the quality of the interaction? Are they scheduling, or is that click source sending you potential new patients who aren't even calling your office for the subject you're after? Maybe you have to change up your keywords. Maybe you have to change up your key phrases, right? There's a whole bunch involved in this, and it would definitely be to your advantage to understand what's involved before going into it. So I guess the bottom line is PPC campaigns absolutely can work. They should almost never be the only thing you do to advertise. I think that's taken way too much of a risk, but they can promote individual niches really well. In some markets, you can get a good, solid, reasonable acquisition cost for a new patient. So they are absolutely viable, but they are also, they take a level of very refined expertise. And in our case, this AI platform, if you're going to manage, volumes of PPC campaigns. Anyway, PPC doesn't have to be as confusing as some people make it. Oh, here's another thing you want to look for too, is you're going to want to have, if you're doing your own, you already have Google Analytics and you have access to the transparency. You can see the good clicks, the bad clicks. You can see, well, you probably can't see if they called, and you probably can't listen to the call, but whatever PPC, whoever's managing your PPC campaign, make sure that you can see, touch, feel, listen to everything that's going on with your campaign, because there's a lot of dentists out there who are spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month, and there's no accountability. There's no visibility. They can't see what's going on. They just trust the person they're sending the check to. So anyway, that's PPC. I know a lot of you listening to this are in it. You might be in it on your own, or you might be in it, being managed somewhere else. That's fine. As long as it's working and you can see it working, then we're all good. Right, Howie?
Right. Well, Thank you very much for tuning in with us today. We're certainly glad and happy that you're in our audience. So we look forward to being with you again next time. Thanks a lot. Bye now.
We hope you've enjoyed our podcast today. You can find more podcasts on our YouTube channel, on Stitcher, and iTunes. Also on our websites, dentalwebcontent.com and newpatientsinc.com.